like the dance team does. You actually get to go to competitions. So let's talk about those coming up.
Yes, November is our first competition, and we'll be actually going in person for a game day competition with 5 and 6A schools. We'll all be there together, is the plan right now. So we're excited about that because normally we compete in September, and not having that competition has kind of thrown us off this year.
Now, since you're having it in person, I'm assuming no fans are allowed, right?
They have not specified yet.
Because I was going to say that is going to be a challenge with having no fans at a cheer competition because you feed off the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. If you don't have any fans, how are you guys going to get psyched up and pumped up to do your routine?
Hopefully the other schools that we're not competing against will be
They'll be
there
your
to
fans.
cheer. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, something I want to ask you about just as a instructor, as a coach, what do you feel like is the biggest quality to kind of reaching that top tier as far as being a cheerleader?
I think the biggest quality is just having pride in everything that you do. There's so many different components to cheerleading that you can't just be good at one thing. You really have to take pride in every single skill that you have to do.
Well, Kylie just talked about. We asked her how her preparation has changed as a senior and being a leader, and same thing with Aaliyah. And Kylie was like, "This is a lot of pressure on me. I'm not used to this. I'm the one that's usually asking the questions, and now all these freshmen are coming to me." And Aaliyah said kind of the same thing. So, who has really stepped up other than those two girls this year and just kind of taking the bull by the horns with this pandemic-stricken mess?
Yes, definitely those two. Our captains have stepped up, and then we have a couple senior boys and also a junior boy that has really stepped up and helped us. Like they said, we have 10 new people on our squad. We have 21, so like half of our squad is brand new this year, so we're really starting kind of fresh.
And you have some new guys too this year. You had some last year, but how did you guys think, okay, cheerleading, no, I don't really want to do that. So how did you go and kind of recruit some good bodies that help with those pyramids and all that stuff?
My guys actually do a lot of the recruiting. That helps a lot, having the boys talk to their friends and kind of explain what it's all about and that it's not just a girly sport.
Yeah.
Oh, I can already tell you that,
I mean,
with
we
the
just heard all the lineage of,
yes.
Bruises, cuts, concussions, whatever. I mean,
Yes.
it's a tough sport. We know that.
So, how different have football games been this year? You guys don't travel, and neither does the dance team or band. So, how different is it when you're at Boomer Stadium this year?
I think it just is more important because we're only really getting 4 games this year for football season, and so I think they're really taking it all in every single game. It is a disappointment that they don't get to travel because that's really some team bonding time that they
Right.
usually get.
And you use those games as practices.
Yes.
And you only have 4 practices, essentially live practices, to practice your cheers. So, I mean, yeah, it's a tight schedule this year.
Yeah, the only other thing I got on my mind is what's the personality of this group as kind of a whole? Do you feel like they're kind of led by the seniors?
The personality, we have a lot of personality on our squad, which is a good thing.
What advice would you give little girls or little boys that are thinking about getting involved in cheer? Obviously, you want them to get involved in gymnastics to start with. What other pieces of advice would you give to the little ones out there?
I think just not to give up, that if this is something that they want to pursue, whether they can tumble or not, just to continue trying, and even if they don't make the squad, to try again, work on their skills, and come back.
So you got your game day competition, and then you have regionals and state, right? Do you know where
Yes.
all that's going to be yet?
We don't know where they're going to be, but we do know it is in January.
Oh, so you got some time.
Yes,
Wow.
we've got a lot going on this semester.
Anything else?
Sure, I think you covered all right there.
Well, Rachel, thanks for coming on again as you did last year. We appreciate it. Good luck down the road, and we'll talk to you soon. That was the head cheerleading coach, Rachel Beck. On the other side of the break, we're going to have some football talk. We're going to talk to sophomores Hunter Harrison, the center, and Ethan Matt, the nose guard. And I'm really interested to see what these two are going to be together. Lots of personality in these two guys coming up. Keep it right here. Boomer Coaches Show returns after this on Z92.
What's undeniable control in winter? It's when you can handle heavy snow, slippery ice, and freezing rain on any road. Do you have undeniable control? Can you handle winter? Make sure you can with BF Goodrich Winter TA KSI tires. From October 1st to December 15th, buy 4 BF Goodrich tires and get up to $70 in mail-in rebates. The experts at High Plains Tire know everything about BF Goodrich. Certain conditions apply. Visit your dealer or bfgoodrich.ca for details.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. I had to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
Undo their whiteness and affirm their complicity in racism, internalized racial superiority and whiteness, dismantling the police.
All these clowns.
Congresswoman Omar's call for dismantling the entire system.
But not one circus tent.
I'm like, oh, is this the new normal?
Step right up.
And the mob and the media helping them every step of the way.
To Sean Hannity.
At what point do you say that this is going to end really badly?
Weekdays at 2 on the Tri-States News Talk Station, Z92.
And welcome back to Long Shots Bar and Grill. Brock Campbell, Tyler Riggs, joined by sophomores, center Hunter Harrison, and the nose guard, Ethan Matt. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm going to start with you, Hunter. You're a center this year.
Yes, sir.
You played linebacker a little bit last year, didn't you, or defensive end or something like that?
Linebacker.
So you've switched positions. I want you to take me through a normal play as a center. What are you looking for in terms of when you get down in position? And then what are your thoughts that are going through your mind pre-snap, etc.?
Really just where that nose guard lines up. Always keeping my eyes up for the linebackers coming through, trying to blitz. And really just getting a good snap, getting a good block for my backs, my quarterback, my wide receivers. Just to have a good play because everything, as they say, everything starts with all the linemen.
How can this guy help you? You're the center. He's a nose guard. How can he help you in practice, prepare?
Going through practice, I mean, just having a good eye, having a good person in front of you obviously makes you better. Having your teammate, having your brother's IMBK, I mean, just having them push you forward every day through practice.
And conversely for you, Ethan, same question on the defensive side of the ball. What are your thoughts running through your mind pre-snap to fire off the ball, stop the opponent?
Oh, you just got to look at the formation, keep your eyes up, see what formation. We watch a lot of film, so you just got to know your plays and kind of have an idea of what they're going to run before the ball's even snapped.
And Hunter, stepping into this new role as a center, usually the center is kind of like the quarterback in the sense that you got to kind of be the leader of that line at times and kind of get your guys in check. Obviously, you're still a sophomore. You got Kenyon and some of those guys that are a bit older. How much are you trying to learn from them to be able to kind of use that going forward in your career?
Every day, every play, they'll give me pointers and stuff. But since I am a smaller center compared to a lot of the other ones and compared to really the line,
right,
it's difficult, but I'm catching on to it. It's especially with those guys like Kenny, you said, big leaders and stuff, good leaders. Gives me good pointers every day, every play.
Where did that transition come from, Hunter? You played DN and linebacker last year, now center. Did you approach Coach Luchin about maybe wanting that role, or did he approach you? How did that come about?
I had no idea about it until coming first day of fall camp. I knew he wanted me to play some linemen, but I was thinking maybe just some linemen really tight end behind Mark Pinkard. And then I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, oh, yeah, he said that last year they were looking at putting me at center. And I was like, I had no idea about this. But, yeah, so first day of fall camp, I came up putting our, line together where he thinks players would be. including like all the freshmen on JV or whatever. And Hunter Harrison, your center. I was like, okay, let's go, let's go.
Because that's definitely a different take on what you had to do last year. Let's talk about the McGinnis game, although we really don't want to talk about it, but we'll talk about it. Good film to learn from.
Yes.
I mean, that's the positive we're looking at. But let's talk about what was McGinnis doing to really stop the run and force you guys to pass more on Friday?
They're not really a big team. Their line are pretty small, like my size really, but they're really fast, really athletic. That nose guard's really, really fast off the ball, like the fastest I've really ever seen.
Yeah, Kip Nichols. We saw him on film. Yep.
Gets low really well, and he's just tough. He's just fast and gets low, and he will get through there.
Well, let's talk about the offensive line for McGinnis that you had to go against, Ethan. Talk about them. They were a big line, seemed to control the line of scrimmage all night. What was the biggest challenge with them in watching film as well?
Nose guard, I take on a lot of guys. We had that big number 70 on my left side. He was really good. He picked me up a lot. And their center, it's just a fight every single play. It's a fight till the end.
Yeah, and Ethan, I just want to ask you, man, as a D lineman, what's kind of your go-to move? You got, you a swim type of guy, you a bull rush, like the spin move?
I'm more of a get low and then try to rip off.
Exactly what I told you when we were on the air. I'm nicknamed the Junkyard Dog.
Yeah,
you use your undersize. Talk about how you use your undersize against more physical offensive linemen to get through the line.
Oh, there's a lot of, this is the first year I've played nose guard since like 5th grade, so it's just, picking it back up and learning how to get away from those guys, keeping their hands off me, because a lot of them are a lot stronger than me. So if I can keep their hands off of me and get a, work an edge or work half a man even, it makes me a lot better player if I can, find their weaknesses and then expose them on their weaknesses and make me look good.
And having to go against Tarman last week, Luke Tarman, first of all, the film doesn't do him justice how good he is. He's just a really good player. But it gave you good film to work with because Josh Raines is going to do a lot of the same things, but not as fast as Luke Tarman. So how's that going to help you this week?
Oh, like being just like he said, working stuff in practice, I go up against him every day, and we make each other better, and just having that really good guy last week, it'll make it easier this week for me, and not maybe as easy as some of our last games, but it'll for sure make a difference. It's a new snap every game.
Hunter, we talked about how you're a new center this year. You struggled a little bit earlier in the season with your snaps. Let's talk about what you do. What's the key to getting a good snap back to Sam? Because and what mechanics do you use? Because you're not looking at Sam when you snap. So you have to snap and we're in the shotgun probably 90% of the time. Actually, close to 100% probably. So just tell me, what's the keys to getting a good snap and what's good mechanics?
Keeping your butt down, really, that's the big thing. So snap obviously doesn't go high. You don't want it too low because then ball hits the ground, ball bounces before quarterback. And keeping your wrist locked. I'm a lefty, so I snap with my left hand. So my left hand is always, sometimes it's taped, just so my wrist does not snap. When I go and I snap the ball, it just doesn't flick back, and you want to keep that wrist straight so you can get a good steady snap, steady spiral.
And you being an offensive defensive lineman, you're not in your head. You agree with that?
Well, and I was a guard in my time, but I had a couple of centers that, I'm not kidding you. I mean, you mentioned getting the butt down and keeping it down. That is, drills every day in practice. They go through that, and that's one of the most important things. Ethan, on your side, though, like you said, you have made the transition back to nose guard after being a linebacker for us a bit last year. Did you get to pick up much from like Sean O'Kelly and Hamilton and those guys, or was it kind of more focused on being a linebacker side?
Well, last year I never really even thought about being defensive line, if you want to know the truth. I was focused on being linebacker, and that's pretty well where I was focused at until fall camp. And then week before Clinton Sunday, Coach asked me what I thought about playing nose guard. So I started repping nose guard those 2 or 3 days before Clinton, and I talked to him about it, just ask him some pointers and stuff, but for most of it, it was all just learning it on the fly.
Was it a hard transition, or do you since you had some experience in the youth, was it?
It's a lot different than linebacker, that is for sure. But there's good things about playing defensive line, and there's bad things about you just got to make the best of what you got.
We had a fan just text us and said that Hunter's just like his dad. He's a southpaw as well. So, yeah, you're both are lefties. And it was somebody that referees with him, so that's how he knows that he's left-handed. But let's talk, we got a crucial game on Saturday. Yes, Saturday. That's going to be weird, by the way. It's going to be in the middle of OU, Texas. I know that.
Right in the middle of the day.
I know. But let's talk about that. Got a crucial game. Beat this team last year 28-14 at the Rock, so they got a bad taste in their mouth still. They're going to come up here and they're going to try and whip you know what. But crucial game this week. We got a crucial 3 games. We're going to take it one game at a time. Let's talk about what's it going to take. What does this team need to do to get in the win column on Saturday, and just talk about your preparation for the game this week.
Just coming together as a team, not separating each other out. Practicing hard all week. We got an extra day to practice. That's always something to look forward to. Getting extra film watch. Just all that kind of stuff all plays. It's all the little stuff that that we've been lacking just every week. Just one thing we've been lacking, and I think this week we'll be able to put it all together and get us a win in the column.
What was the locker room after the McGinnis game? Because me and Tyler, we there's flashes there, and if we can put the flashes together in 4 quarters, we can win some ball games. What was the demeanor like after that game?
Everyone was pretty upset, Everyone felt like they kind of let everyone down. It's a brotherhood, so you play for your guy next to you. You don't play for yourself. And I think everyone felt like, we kind of let each other down, and that some of us maybe didn't play as hard as, we could, and that there were definitely some mental mistakes we made Friday night that we need to fix if we're going to, beat Guthrie this week.
And on the offensive side of the ball, there's some opportunities to run the ball this week and also pass in a secondary that, quite frankly, was not really up to par against us last year. And it's a lot of the same guys. So what does the offense need to do to really get going this week and start to showcase what we can really do?
Having a 3-man front, it's just really me and either Landon Phillips or Damian Chavez just doubling that nose early on runs, on pass, like I said earlier. Looking for linebackers coming. Really, you have your man, you have your job. Do your job. Your brother next to you will do his job, and at the end, it'll just work out.
Well, this is the last question for both of you. We're going to not talk business anymore. What do you guys do in your spare time when you're not playing sports?
You go ahead.
I eat a lot.
I eat a lot.
I used to be big in video games, but I don't think I've touched my Xbox in a month or 2, really.
Focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No time. No, I have really not.
But his dad's also thinking, I spent so much money on that. He's not even playing anymore.
That's what's.
But he's also nodding that you eat a lot. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
What about you, Ethan?
Oh, I like to work a lot. Running for cattle. That's always a full-time job. Being with family, I like to hang out with my family a lot. Being with Hunter, hanging out with friends. I do quite a bit, and then. Just 4-H, I'm in 4-H, so that takes up quite a bit of time, and just, trying to balance it all, doing homework and keeping up school, keeping grades up, it's all a full-time job.
And you look like a rancher. You even got the cattle company hat on and everything. You're definitely a rancher. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Good luck on Saturday. Yes, Saturday. It's just weird still saying it. We'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was sophomore center Hunter Harrison and nose guard sophomore Ethan Matt. On the other side of the break, we're going to have Coach Luchin himself to get his thoughts on the game and the upcoming, or his thoughts about the game on Saturday with Guthrie. This is the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
Why watch the big games alone when you could stop by Longshots Bar and Grill to catch all the action? Longshots offers the best entertainment in Northwest Oklahoma and is open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Enjoy live music, great food, and drinks while you catch all the big games. There's always fun to be had at Longshots Bar and Grill. Call 580-256-1467 to book your next birthday bash or big reunion, then come on down to 810 Main Street to party with Longshots Bar and Grill.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. And together, we turn great ideas into reality by accessing our networks, our experience, and the best of ourselves to make a difference. Around the world, Rotary brings leaders together to build new friendships and to solve problems. Like in Austria, where generations work side by side to build sustainable housing and community centers. In India, volunteers run a mobile blood bank to help provide a steady blood supply for their local community. And in Taiwan, people are working hard to get vulnerable citizens the support and services they need. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Take action with us. Find out more at rotary.org/action.
Has your child swallowed your medicine, your laundry detergent, your nail polish remover? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you inhaled paint thinner, glue, pesticides? Call the Poison Helpline. Have a question about a dose, a fume, something your kid just drank? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And welcome back to Long Shots Bar and Grill, as we have to hit about 5 buttons before we come back on because we're muted. But, yeah, we're back at Long Shots Bar and Grill, and me and Tyler Riggs, joined now by Coach Rick Luchin. And, Coach, just a tough game on Friday. McGinnis is really good. We knew that going in, but let's talk about, Tarman. Watching him on film doesn't do him justice. He's really good in person. Just talk about your overall evaluation of the game and your observations.
Well, I was extremely disappointed just in the way we came out and played on Friday. We felt like going into the game from a coaching staff that we were, playing an extremely good team, but we thought we could go out and compete with them. We really did. Coach D and I went and watched them the week before at Lawton Ike and felt, that it was a team that we could go out and at least compete with. Getting a win would take our best effort, without a lot of mistakes. But we knew how good the Tarman kid was, and they've pretty much just put everything into his hands now, and the kid is a phenomenal athlete. And it was extremely impressive what he's been able to do through the first half of the season already. And I'm shocked that the kid's only got one offer. I mean,
me too.
And it's one Division II offer,
right.
And he could play a lot of places Division I, not as a quarterback, but a lot of other positions on the team.
That's exactly what I said in our pregame. It was like he's only got one offer to Swazu, but I thought Sam did some nice things in the game and then some young mistakes as he's going to, keep doing as he matures. He took the delay of game penalty call, missing on some open receivers, a couple more interceptions, although he was under pressure a lot of the time too. Talk about his growth 4 games in, and what else does he need to work on, especially in these next 3 crucial weeks?
Well, he needs to do a better job of taking care of the football. I mean, that's always first and foremost, and he's got to do a better job of reading the RPO part of it, whether or not he's going to give it or he's going to pull it. And that's the first piece of it. And then to find the open receiver is the second piece of it. And I think he's getting better at that. He shows signs of really improving a lot in that area, and then he kind of takes a step back every now and then. So just the more reps he gets in practice and on Friday nights, he'll continue to get better at that.
And Coach, focusing on the run game part of the offense, what do you really want to see out of the line and maybe how Nash kind of get that going again to where you want it to be?
Well, we found out Friday night that we don't block athletic kids near as well as we block the big hog mollies up there. Yeah. And, we didn't handle their athletic kids very well at all. And that's just something that's not a good fit for us up front with our 5 guys. And I think we'll be a better matchup with Guthrie because they're going to play bigger kids up front that are not going to be wearing jerseys number 14 and 44 and whatever else they were. There was no lineman numbers in that group at all. But I think it'll be a better fit for us up front. So hopefully, we can get out there and perform a little better up front. Another group I was extremely disappointed in, mainly because it's my group, and that's the offensive line. And for us to come out with just a handful of yards rushing against that team was not impressive at all.
And that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask you about the offensive line. I was going to ask you about our struggles being, was it because they were just not blocking the kids, or was they stacking the box and just daring us to pass? I was just kind of getting you more thoughts on that.
No, it was just the fact that we were not able to find them in space and get them blocked. And, we struggled up front all the way across the board with their three-man front, and we were struggling so much it wasn't allowed us to get to the second level and get the linebackers blocked. So, when we did gain a yard or so, we'd be getting hit with the linebackers. So we struggled trying to make contact and keep contact with them. And that's something that we're just going to have to work on and get better at.
Yeah, and defensively, Tarman was obviously very slippery. He was tough to bring down. How are you going to be able to use that experience and kind of take it into this week with Raines and try and be able to corral him at quarterback?
Well, I think it's going to help us out a lot. I mean, probably the best thing we could have seen past week was a quarterback that's going to run the football, because the Raines kid at Guthrie is a very similar type of athlete, but not near the speed that Tarman has and not near the moves that Tarman has. This quarterback will try to drop his shoulder on you and run you over. And I'd much rather prefer to play a quarterback like that than one that's going to put a couple moves on you and then just outrun you everywhere that he wants to go. So I think it'll be a better fit for us. I thought we did an extremely good job last year dealing with him as a quarterback. And, but they designate a lot of things that gives him the option to pull it and keep it a lot. So, guys are going to have to do their job and stay home and take care of their responsibilities.
Talk about how much of a benefit it is to have an extra day to prepare.
It's good. It would be a lot better if it wasn't 100 degrees outside. I mean, it's been really brutal.
Yes.
And it's very draining. So there's a fine line there that we have to deal with it from a coaching standpoint. We can't go out and have our 2.5, 3 hour practice and do that an extra day, because really it just loses its value at a certain point. Today we went out and we cut it way back and just took it a lot easier. Didn't do a lot of the individual and group work. We just kind of went some offense and defense. This was special teams, team type stuff, and got them out of there a little earlier just so they wouldn't melt out there in that heat. And tomorrow we'll go back and do a little bit more of a normal practice. But the extra day at least gives us that option to be able to do that. I mean, if we were playing on Friday, we would have had to get after it today regardless, just so we'd be prepared and ready to go by Friday.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm ready for some fall weather. It kind of teased us last week.
Never seen anything like this on October 7th, where it's, literally it was almost 100 degrees out there on the practice field.
Man. Well, we're going to take our final break of the Coaches Show. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the opponent this Saturday. Yes, Saturday. Guthrie Blue Jays, and with Coach Rick Luchin. We're going to take a final time out. This is the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them, but I think in reality, he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something was wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you came across a child struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you recognize a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school?
Not because he's a boy, but because he's hungry?
Or a 2-year-old girl who cries all night, not because she's sick,
but because she went to bed without enough to eat?
Or maybe a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites him to a sleepover, not for fun, just so he can have dinner. Or a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks over lunch,
so her friends won't know she doesn't have anything to eat?
I am the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day, but never knew were hungry. I am child hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Well, that's not mine. There we go. And welcome back to Long Shots Bar and Grill. Brock Campbell, Tyler Riggs, still here with Coach Rick Luchin. And time to talk about the Guthrie Blue Jays. They're undefeated coming into Saturday's game against us. And we got them at the Rock last year, so they got a bad taste still in their mouth. They want to come up here and beat our fannies, basically. You know that they just talk about Coach BB's squad this year.
Well, they're a young group, very talented. We were talking earlier in the break that they're sophomore loaded this year. I think that's by far their best and most talented class, and a class that's really going to be good for the next couple of years. But a lot of those kids, have jumped right into the fire. They've opened up week 0, so they played week 0, week 1, week 2, and they've been off the last 2 weeks. But they've got out there and they've played, and they've taken all those reps through all those 3 games that they played. So, they're not sophomores anymore. They're ready to go. So we're going to have to play extremely well and try to use maybe some of our experience to benefit us.
Yeah, and Guthrie is more heavy on the RPO game with Raines at quarterback and the running back Isaiah Hammonds. He's a sophomore. He's really been a spark for them. Lots of spread RPO action as we saw last year. What are the biggest challenges other than that with this team that we're going to face Saturday against the Blue Jays?
Well, I think another thing that they predominantly have gone to this year is they've ran more of that K-State type offense with the quarterback and 2 lead blockers, or even up to 3 lead blockers back there with them sometimes. Kind of like what we do in our Wildcat package when we put Nash back there, and we got the same thing from K-State when we did that. We just try to get as many blockers out there for the quarterback or whoever's catching the snap, and let them run behind those guys, and they do a good job of doing that. They'll use one to pull and swab with, when they run counter and things like that. So, we're going to have to be physical in the box, and I think that's going to be the telltale sign. I think they throw the ball pretty well, but that doesn't scare me as much as their running game does.
Yeah, that counter play where they pull Kiaris Randall and the other left tackle all the way to the right side. They really want to use him. They want the running back to go behind him because he's like 303 pounds.
Big old boy.
Yeah. And so that's what I've seen on film. They really want to utilize him a lot. So is that what you're seeing on film as well?
Yeah, I mean they're big across the front, and they're going to definitely be a challenge for us up front, and we're going to have to try to defend that, and by not letting guys like that get up the field and get on our second level guys. So it's going to be up to our defensive line to do a good job and try to stop some of that stuff.
I said Kiaris Randall, but that was McGinnis. But you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Anything?
You talk about the physicality there, that defense, and having to really kind of get up for that. What have you seen from your linebackers this year, the Paul Sullivans of the world? Obviously, we talked to Ethan Matt, nose guard, and how do you feel those guys are doing as far as bringing that type of energy every week?
Well, I think the energy was non-existent on Friday. Right. I kind of felt like it's been the tale of 2 teams so far, with games 1 and 2 and games 3 and 5, between the 4 games that we've played. And we talked about that with the kids and tried to figure out, what the difference is, why we're coming out different. Is it because we haven't gotten a win yet and it just hadn't, excited them to be able to go out there and compete, or are they just waiting for one to fall in their laps? So, I think energy is definitely down on both sides of the ball, but our outside linebackers are getting a little better each week. It's brand new for not only Wyatt, obviously, playing quarterback the last couple of years with us, but even for Paul, because Paul was more of an inside guy last year, and we've had to move him to the outside spot. So it's been a bigger change for him. And then he and Devin Wadersky was rotating a lot. Devin's hurt his knee a couple of weeks ago and hadn't came back yet. So, Paul's having to run that full time and, has a lot of great plays, but then has a lot of busts that allow them to, get big chunks too. So, until we get that outside linebacker position solidified a little bit better and those guys are, turning things back in, then we're gonna struggle until we get that fixed.
And who knew Paul Sullivan could run the ball like he
Yep.
did? I haven't heard
He
that
can
you
do it.
heard somebody said that. I didn't know he could run the ball like that because he ran over like 3 or 4 players.
Okay, well, if you got that from Dakota, that doesn't count.
That, I know.
No.
Anyway,
he makes stuff up.
Let's talk about this. This is a crucial 3 weeks, but we're not going to. You don't want to throw all that at the boys.
Sure. No, it is.
But it is a crucial 3 weeks, and you got 3 very winnable games that are make or break you.
Yep.
What is the message going into the game to the team?
Well, we've talked about that, and I don't mind. I mean, I don't consider it looking ahead, but I keep promoting the fact that these next 3 weeks are going to determine whether or not we get back in the playoffs.
Right.
And it's as simple as that. We didn't going into the Guthrie game last year was such a critical game because we thought they were kind of one of those elite teams. I had never played them, so I wasn't really sure of what they were last year and compared to the years before. But we didn't realize how critical of a game that was until we got the win, and then we started looking at things like, well, that could get us in right there. Well, now going into it this year, we know that, again, that game and the next 2 are going to be our steps to make it. And then the Piedmont game week 10, would just be that bonus game to maybe move us from 4th to 3rd and give us a better matchup first round. So, it's going to be extremely important. But it all starts Saturday. And if the kids will go out with the right mindset and play with the energy and play up to their ability, then I think we've got a good chance to get a win.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on, as always. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Sounds good.
All right. That was head coach Rick Luchin, and we're keeping right here, me and Tyler. Saturday matchup. Yes, it's in the middle of OU Texas, but bring your phones. You can watch the OU Texas game and the Boomer game in the stands at the same time. Trust me, the Boomers need everybody in the stands this Saturday because this is a first game of a crucial 3-game stretch.
Well, that's the energy, right? That's something that coaches mentioned right there the last couple of weeks. Maybe they just haven't kind of had. So having that crowd is just going to help out tremendously. And I think these guys really, despite it being an odd time, kind of an odd day, more of a college football feel, if you will, I think they're ready to get up for this. I mean, just talking to Ethan Madden, Hunter Harrison there, they seem pretty focused on their goal and what they want to do. They know they've got to get better and the things they have to get better at to be able to get back to that playoff. And I think that's something that, the Kenyon Lands of the world and guys like that just they're going to drive that home that, hey, guys, this is the season right here for us, and it starts now.
Yeah, and the confidence level is going to be there because this is the one of the 3 teams or 4 teams you beat last year.
Right.
But yeah, it starts on Saturday. Yeah, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts. And Guthrie's doing the same thing the next 3 weeks. They're playing a round robin basically, if they're going to get in the playoffs or not. So there's a lot riding on this game on Saturday. So anyways, it's going to be at Saturday, 12:30 pregame, 1 o'clock kickoff from Boomer Stadium, and it's going to be interesting. We won't have a high school scoreboard. We'll have a college scoreboard at halftime. But anyways, it's going to be my first Saturday high school game, other than if it's, a championship game or whatever. So it's going to be kind of weird for all of us, but we're going to make do, and hopefully we'll get a win against the Blue Jays. So for myself, for Tyler Riggs, for our guest tonight, the Boomer Cheer, Kylie Swindle, Aaliyah Watts, Rachel Beck, and then Hunter Harrison and Ethan Matt and Rick Luchin. This has been the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.